2 down, 3 more to go. That's right, I'm almost halfway through my goal of visiting at least 5 new state parks this year. Hello again and welcome to another episode of Wisconsin's Outdoor Explorer Podcast. I am your host, Jason. And I don't know about you, but these past few weekends have just been spectacular here in Wisconsin. You couldn't ask for better days of 40 to 50 degree weekends. The weeks are a little bit colder, but that's okay because most of us are working during the week. So to be able to have the best days happen on the weekend has just been really amazing, and it's been so easy to get out. And I'll admit, these beautiful sunny and warm winter weekends really get me motivated to get out and do some exploring. This time of year, getting outdoors can be tricky. It can be cold, we can get a lot of snow, or it warms up so fast that hiking trails can become unusable or even a little bit dangerous. So to have weather that we've had the past few weekends has been amazing, and our family has been taking full advantage of it. So this past weekend, it was a sunny 50-degree afternoon. I decided to pack the family up, and we headed south down I-39 and east on Highway 54 towards Waupaca to Hartman Creek State Park. Now, to be honest with you, I didn't really know much about this state park, and until I searched for a close state park to my home, it's honestly the first time that I've ever heard of it. And after doing a little research, I did find Hartman Creek is very popular with the locals living near the park, and it's really a summer destination because of the small lakes and beachfronts that it offers. If you go to the Wisconsin DNR website, it describes Hartman Creek as 1,500 acres. That's a quiet and friendly natural gem that's located near the beautiful spring-fed chain of lakes, comprising of 7 lakes with crystal clear waters. Now, when looking at their summer trail map, the first thing you notice is there's a lot of trails, and the trails seem to wind endlessly throughout the park, and that makes for a great day of hiking. However, during the winter, some of these trails are unavailable, and that is because some of those trails kind of go around the campsites that aren't open during the wintertime. So if you're there in the summertime, there's obviously going to be more opportunities for you to hike and more opportunities for you to hike while you are camping. But being that it's winter, it takes a lot to maintain that. It takes a lot to get volunteers out there to make sure things are good. So they kind of cut back a little bit on the trails that they do have. But I'm going to tell you right now, there are still plenty of trails for you to enjoy during the winter months. So don't let that keep you from entering Hartman Creek in the winter. There's a lot of trails, and they're open to different types of winter fun. On this day, we chose to stick to hiking the trails by foot. We could have easily went cross-country skiing if our family did that, or fat tire biking because they do have some really great fat tire biking trails. And we could have even went snowmobiling. So there is a lot you can do at this park besides just hiking. Besides the many small lakes that make up a majority of the park, I think one of the biggest highlights of this park is the fact that you can hike 3 miles of Ice Age trail that travel through Waupaca and Portage County. And to me, that's kind of a neat feature of this park because you can hook up to the Ice Age trail. And if you've never been on the trail, here's an opportunity for you to get on that trail and do a little bit of Ice Age trail hiking. As we drove in the park, we wanted to experience part of that Ice Age trail. So we drove all the way in to a parking lot that's pretty much right on the edge of the park. I mean, once we got to that parking lot, there was a gate there that said you can go no farther, and this parking lot is kind of the center of where all these trails kind of converge. So once you're at this lot, you're pretty much good to go in either direction. Now, in the wintertime, if you go north of the parking lot, that's where a lot of the cross-country skiing was. When you head south, which is the way we went, these are more your walking snowshoe trails, your fat tire bike trails. So this is the way we went, and this was the way we hooked up to the Ice Age trail. Now, the Ice Age trail goes from north to south all the way through the park. We knew we'd only be about half of the Ice Age trail, and honestly just a little bit less than that, because where we wanted to circle back, we had to get off the Ice Age trail, or else we would have had to walk back on the same trail, and we didn't really want to do that. We wanted to explore new trails and see as much of the park as we could. We set out south of the parking lot and found our way to the trail that hooked up with the Ice Age Trail. We weaved throughout the park, making sure we walked the Ice Age Trail as far as we could while still being able to experience a new trail without turning around on that same trail. So basically, we just didn't want to backtrack is what we didn't want to do. We wanted to just keep moving forward all the way. I would tell you, the trails were perfect. We didn't need snowshoes. The snow, it was warm enough that the snow was kind of packing under our feet as we walked. And it was just a really beautiful, peaceful trail. And it was such a nice day. And it surprised me a little bit because for being such a nice day, that the trails were pretty empty. For the most part, we felt like we were the only ones on the trail. Like we had the whole half of the park to ourselves, basically. And that surprised me because typically once you get to these early spring days when you get warm weather, people are out on the trails. And honestly, I don't remember running into anybody on the trails. It was just our family, which was nice. We were able to just take our time, really enjoy it. And we just kind of wandered through the park. And honestly, our wandering hike was about 3 miles long. And it was probably one of the easier hikes that we've been on so far. There's not a lot of steep hills or narrow trails that might challenge you or that you might see from other state parks. I would say if you're a beginner or novice hiker, this was a really good trail to take because it was pretty easy. There wasn't anything that was strenuous. There was a little bit of up and downs, but for the most part, it was a very easy to walk trail, especially for the wintertime. We weren't dealing with any slippery slopes or anything like that. It was a lot easier than when we went to Willow River, where some of those were very steep and you could have used cleats. Again, this is a great park if you are a novice hiker or if you're just looking for a nice, easy stroll through a state park. And another thing that really impressed me about Hartman Creek is how many signs of where you are located throughout the park. Now, a lot of these trails intersect with each other. They crisscross and meet. So a lot of those intersections would have maps of the trail to show you exactly where you are and where you can go. And that was so helpful. It was one of the most helpful parks that I've been in where you constantly had access to a map on the trails and you could stop and see where you were and see how far you had to go. And I was very impressed with the amount of markers and maps that were out there that kept you on track and kept you on the trails. So big kudos to the crew at Hartman Creek for keeping that up and keeping it well marked so that you could stay on trail and stay focused to where you were without wondering where you were or how long it was going to be before you hit the next trail. So after about 3 miles of hiking through a bunch of trails and on the Ice Age Trail, which my kids thought was really neat and I thought was pretty cool too, we finally wandered our way back to where the truck was parked. Now, one of the things that's kind of neat about Hartman Creek that I kind of thought was cool was there's kind of a east side and a west side to it. Now, on the west side where we were all the trails were. And on the east side is where you're going to find the lakes. And before we left, we wanted to make sure that we visited these chain of lakes. So we took the short drive over to the other side of the park. And this is where we saw most of the people. A lot of people were out enjoying the lake and walking around the lake. And we ended up taking a short little walk out to Hartman and Mid Lake. And there were people sitting out there. There were, like I said, people taking their dogs around the lake. This is actually the part of the park as well where we heard birds singing and just saw a little bit more wildlife. Where in the west side of the park, where the trails were, we didn't hear a whole lot of birds singing yet and things going on like we heard at Willow Creek because because everything is by the lake, enjoying the open water and just enjoying the sun over there. If you're looking for a quiet hike, you're going to want to be on that west side where you're going to probably have a lot of the trails to yourself, especially in the wintertime. I'm guessing in the summertime it's a lot busier, but during a winter hike, if you're looking for a quiet hike, that's the side you want to be on. But if you're looking for some lake and some people and more activity, then you're going to be over by the lakes and you're going to enjoy that a little bit more. I will say that both parts are equally as beautiful. Both were very easily accessible. There's a nice parking lot on each side, so you can go one way or the other, and you're going to enjoy the park no matter what you choose. But I can understand why the area of the park with the lakes on it is a very popular summer destination. The little bit of lakes that didn't have ice on them were clear. You could see down a really long way. There's available beaches, so this is a great place for one of those summer outings where you just need to get away, do a little swimming, maybe have an afternoon picnic, and just soak up that summer sun. And I can really see Hartman Creek being that destination, and I can really see our family going back in the summer to experience it again. I think one of the really neat things about Hartman Creek is the fact that it's a park that's going to offer you something different every season. Like most of our parks, like most of the places you're going to go see. You know, it's the perfect park for a quiet winter hike, especially if you're looking for a place that's not overcrowded with people. And during the winter months, you can snowshoe, cross-country ski, fat tire bike, and even snowmobile. So there's a lot of different things you can do in the wintertime. You'll experience part of the Ice Age Trail and kind of just lose yourself winding around the park and just enjoying a nice day. If you're not into hiking through woods, you can choose the other side of the park and enjoy winter lakes and the winter scene. And of course, in the warmer months, I can imagine the park just being busy with campers and kids and families just enjoying those beaches and enjoying those clear waters. I think Hartman Creek offers a great representation of what most people think Wisconsin is. It's forests and lakes that make you feel like you could be anywhere in Wisconsin. The thing is, you're not going to find waterfalls or huge bluffs that you can climb and see for miles or special rock formations. If you're looking for those things, this is not the state park that you want to visit. If you want to find that quiet, secluded Wisconsin feel, this is a park that you're going to really enjoy. And I think because of the fact that it doesn't offer those bigger features that a lot of tourists are probably looking for, you're not going to get as much overcrowding at this state park as you would as at those other state parks. So if you're not into crowds, this is probably going to be a better choice for you. And I think it's pretty safe to say that this is one probably that the locals like to hang on to and like to keep quiet and really like to enjoy and kind of keep it their little secret that they have this park so close. And I don't blame them, because it is the perfect park for just enjoying Wisconsin for really what it is. I can't wait to get back there in the summer and maybe in the fall and really check it out and really see what it's all about and see the beaches and the water and really get out there and enjoy that as well. So I'm going to recommend, if you're looking for that quiet place to hike that's going to give you a true Wisconsin woods feel, you're going to want to go to Hartman Creek. So the next time you're driving I-39 heading to the Northwoods, take a quick detour off of Highway 54 to Hartman Creek State Park and experience the calm of Wisconsin as one of Wisconsin's outdoor explorers. Thanks again for joining me. I'm your host, Jason, and I'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for listening to the Wisconsin's Outdoor Explorer podcast. For more great information about being an outdoor explorer, visit our website at wisconsinsoutdoorexplorer.com. Be sure to check out the blog page and follow us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.